I'm too close. Gotta get you guys up in the air. I know. I don't remember until I see it. So I did a video while I was washing dishes, and it didn't turn out. It started being in slow motion and stuff, so I don't know what I did. I do know it was getting real low on its battery, the device. So maybe that's what caused it. Didn't have enough power. And then you know what came to mind just then was "Power to the Love People." Is that a song? uh, I came up with a song while I was doing the dishes. I can still hear it. I was talking about my daughter's fella. He's a singer in a rock and roll band. Actually, I don't know if you'd call it rock and roll. He's in a cover band. Some of their music's just not my cup of tea, you know, but some of it is good. He is a good singer, I know that much. And he's done some Led Zeppelin. That was the song that I was, "Come to the Land of the Ice and Snow." And then I had Alexa play it, and I only did a titch of it because I didn't want to get copyrighted, but it didn't turn out anyway. So anyway, he does Led Zeppelin. You know, that's a lot of screaming and stuff. And then Guns N' Roses, he did some of that. They have a girl that sings with them that does one of those songs. I can't remember which one. I went with Jess one night and heard them play. You know, and they sing different songs all the time. And they're about promoting their band right now and but they do cover songs. I know I probably already said that. But he's also got a different interest where they're trying to write originals. I don't know much about that. I just know that I was saying how I want to dabble in lyrics, you know, writing thoughts to share with the world. But I don't know anything about the music. Someone else has to do the music. And I have someone in mind. But still, it's just like a future thing. Something that I would like to do. And then I started singing. I really don't think it's Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson had a song about uniting the world, you know. And so I was singing a song about it sounds like it's a Coca-Cola commercial. I just heard that. Do 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 in perfect harmony. Da dum 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 da da dum. Do 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 do. I don't know it. Okay. And when I started that video out, I was saying you never know what I'll say or sing. But they're just the beginnings. And they're just thoughts that crop in my head and ring a bell, ring a song. Here it comes. Look at that, look at that. He ain't wearing no clothes. Yeah, they call him the Streak. How do the words go? Fastest thing on 2 feet. If there's an audience to be found, he'd be streaking around, inviting public critique. Oh. Anyway, I like that song. And somewhere here in my videos, way back when, there's a short one of my mama. And then I'm singing that song about dancing in the nude. And so it was just an impromptu thing. Just like things come out of me right now. So far, it was an interaction with my mom and dad. And I sure hope I have the long one because it seemed like I had to go down to a short one or something. I'm not sure what I did. I had to go find it and put it to the forefront. But it's my mama and my papa. Ray Stevens, he did a few good songs, okay? Silly ones like Ahab, the Arab, she got the burning sand. Something about bells on her fingers and something on her toes and a something in her nose. Oh ho. Do 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 do. Okay, they keep wanting me to do that, and I'm not wanting to do that. So let's don't worry about that. Cancel that. You know, all these things. It's just so wonderful to have all these apps, but then there's those passwords and all that stuff. I don't like that stuff. And I know it's important. That's the problem. But anyway, I do have a church record number. I'm a member of record. And it's saying something about sign in with my church number. So I wonder if that's what it means. So it keeps track of what it's something about bookmarks. You know, you can make bookmarks wherever you're studying, which just means I got to learn something new about that. But right now, see, here's what you could do, people. Let me just tell you. Okay, this is Lou. And it's the 1st of August in 2025. This library, I've been telling you guys to get on your phone. I got to quit slouching over, but I don't know how to get inside my... Whoops. I took you out of the dillywop. That serves me right for messing around, right? So I forget what I was saying. Startled my little brain. So for I know that I'm not fitting on the screen very good, so I'm scrunching over, which isn't good for my posture and probably not for my looks either. But I've got you started this way, so I need to put you back. It's just, I'm going to have to find a way to make it grow tall. Okay, so just hang tight. I'm going to put you back in place. Kind of. I got my glasses off and I can't see where that little button is. If I touch that button, you'll go away. Okay. Let's go. Ah. All right, you guys hang tight. We're going to go for a strange ride here. Do 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 do. Okay, come on. All right, so this is on that 13, and it's got such a much nicer speaker. I can hear it really loud. And that's just coming out of the phone. And so really what it is a little computer that I'm able to use as long as I have Wi-Fi, which is the same thing as my my tablet, because I don't have the frills and the telephone line and all that stuff that travels around with me, which, you know, I probably should. When I do an upgrade, I'll do better. Wireless. When you've got the wireless with you, if it's like the other stuff I had, you just plug in a thing into your wireless and there's your telephone. And then if it's wireless and it goes throughout, so you can just talk online. But I did forget where I was, and I know I must have been talking about that library. That's what it was. I was going to tell you. You people, if you really, I want to turn this around a little bit. If you really want to study and get on board with what the church is doing, you don't even have to go to church yet to get on board with the studying, because okay, here's some things. I hope you have a pen and paper. These are things that will not hurt you, okay? Trust Mary Lou. It will not steer you wrong. But nevertheless, if you just want to study with no strings attached, you get on this Gospel Library. But also, okay, so that's a free app. And then you have the BYU channel. That is free also. And it's got family movies and TV series that are, well, BYU, it's a church station. BYU is a church college. Anyway, it's free. Trying to remember what shows were on there. I was watching Ruby and the Well. So I watched it when I was at Dad's. Okay, but I do have it. I just haven't gone to it in quite some time. Also, I saw The Chosen on there. The Chosen is so good, and I haven't seen season 4. I started it. Not sure where. I might have started watching it here even. Anyway, season 4. I had only made it through season 3, and season 4 was in the movie theaters. And so now it's on, you can actually get on an app called The Chosen. And I think that's free. I'm not sure, but I think it is. But they ask you to get an account there anyway, so that they can keep track. Not them, but you can keep track of where you've been, where you left off. Like Netflix, okay? So that's the same thing. BYU is kind of like a family-oriented movies that are good for everyone. No nudity, no sexual activity. You understand? It's not supposed to be on TV. And that is not for our youngsters to be exposed to. They don't need that clogging up their minds. They'll get to that soon enough without being shown how to go about it. It should not be what's going on out there. There's supposed to be mysteries in life, you know? And you find out about them when it's time. And in the meantime, you've gone through your stages of growth. You've endeavored to improve your mind, you know, and your talents. Growing up in the church was really a good thing, and it still is. For those of you guys who have families, and you know, it's just really neat. There's things for your kids to do with people that are sheltering their youth also, if you look at it that way. I mean, it's sad that the world is such that you have to shelter them, but serious. I can remember when my daughter was 13 and MTV. I thought MTV back then was just overboard. And then it just did nothing but get worse and worse. So you have these porn stars making these videos that our children love and dance to, and they idol worship. And what do? They want to emulate. And so then they start dressing that away and thinking all that stuff is just fine and hunky-dory when it is not, people. It is not. I sprayed some, I think it's Febreze earlier. I was just getting a whiff of it. Is that what it is? Yes. Sea salt, caramel, and maple. But it smells really good. I sprayed it a little while ago, but the air conditioner was going, so it kind of took it away, you know. Anyhow, too, I was going to get on here and read Acts 4. So that's probably what I ought to do, because I have made up my mind that I am going to read Acts. And then I might just read the whole New Testament. Depends. I'm not sure. Because it is true. You can just have this app read it to you. That's the other thing. You don't have to read the scriptures. You can just push on this little thing. It's a circle with blue, like a navy blue kind of, and then it's got a pair of white headphones, you know, like this kind. You touch on that and it reads it for you. Here, I'm going to touch on it so you can hear. Okay, it's got another place to hit play.
Chapter 4. Peter and John are arrested and brought before the council. Peter testifies that salvation comes because of Christ. The Sadducees strive to silence Peter and John. The saints glory in the testimony of Jesus. They have all things in common.
Okay, so that was a synopsis. That was the synopsis. I got to quit slurring my words together. So, you know, a lot of times it's given a time frame. This is not showing a time frame, but it is right after Jesus has left them, I'm sure. I mean, because that's what 3 was all about, right? 2 was receiving the Holy Ghost, and I'm not sure now what 3 was about. Let me see. Peter and John heal a man. Peter teaches repentance, also speaks of the age of restoration preceding the second coming. Okay, do you guys understand what that is? We got the table bouncing, sorry. Did it say the age? He speaks of the age of restoration preceding the second coming. Okay. There's a plethora of things I have to say about that. So we can't do that. That's way too many. That's what happens is it all gets all jammed up in my head because there's all these thoughts coming together at once. There were things that needed to happen before the second coming. And that's, I'm going to sit back and try to not scrunch up myself. So, what do you guess that is, people? What are they restoring? What are they talking about in this Bible? This is the Bible, New Testament. And they're telling you that there's going to be a restoration before the second coming, in preparation for the second coming. I don't know that it said that yet, but you know, signs of the times, signs of the times, signs that the second coming is close at hand. The same thing with this war going on. You know, Armageddon is over there in Israel, right? The Battle of Armageddon. Well, there's been many battles over in that same area. I know there's one prophecy that says that every nation will be fighting over Israel at that time. But I forget what I was going to say besides that. Oh, I ask you a question. I don't know if you caught on to that, but if you've been following me, then you've heard things I've said. The story of Joseph Smith is that restoration. The prophet Joseph Smith, a young boy, when 14 and a half years old, went out to pray in a grove of trees. He went away from everyone. I will forget what I'm saying. Sorry. But his family, his family were believers and read the Bible all the time as a family. And so they believed in God and Jesus Christ. We're talking the Old Testament and the New Testament, right? Because Jesus came 2,000 years ago. Joseph Smith was 200 years ago. The first vision when he was 14 and a half years old was in 1820. That is the beginning of the restoration. They had been reading in must have been in James, the Epistle of James or something like that. If any of ye lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not. And it said that really hit Joseph, because there was a big revival going on, and then all these different preachers were saying, hey, come over here and join my church. Hey, come over here and join my church. And they were teaching all different stuff. And they were I don't know my right words. They were using bad tactics. I don't know how to say what I'm saying. And so it just wasn't like they were all pulling for the same thing. What they were pulling for is a congregation. And Joseph just didn't know which way to go. And they were all pulling at him, But anyway, the story goes that he wanted to know which church to join. And he went out into the woods and started to pray. And he didn't get any words out very much. I mean, I don't know the exact details, but it says he was seized upon by this force that bound him. And it said that at the very last moment, when he thought he was like a goner, for reals, a goner, a light started to appear, which the darkness left him. And I can't do the story justice, but the point is, there, in the air, glorious to behold, was God the Father and God the Son, Jesus Christ. Two separate beings, glorious, brightness beyond noonday sun, or I don't know if that was the angel or if they had the same glory, but they had glory around them, like you would hear about an aura, but just say the whole, they came in it. They appeared in, I want to say, like a sphere of light. Nevertheless, I believe God said the same thing then. This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Hear him. I don't know that I have those words exact, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And so I don't know what all they conversed about, but he got his answer. He was not to join any of those churches because they were not his church. They were not Jesus Christ's church. They were churches of men. Now that's the first vision. Picture a boy, 14 and a half years old, and he's just seeing for himself God and Jesus Christ. He's also experienced that dark one who has had him bound in the first place, was trying to keep, I don't know what he thought he was doing, because he wasn't going to be able to stop that, because Joseph Smith was foreordained in the life before this one to have that calling, to be the prophet of the restoration, which means the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the restored Church of Jesus Christ, restored to the earth. The power is here. Power was given from the great ones of old, like Peter, James, and John gave certain powers. They're keys. They gave them keys. There's two different priesthoods. There's an Aaronic priesthood and a Melchizedek priesthood. The Aaronic is the one the younger men hold. In other words, at the age of 12, you can become a deacon. I believe it's deacon, priest, elder, high priest after that. And then I'm not sure what the other ones would be. That's in the priesthood. And there are certain things, ordinances, that these different priesthoods can do. But they have been given the power by the laying on of hands and consecrated oil. I knocked off my bandanas. As you read through, like what we're reading right now, it's talking about that. They have had hands laid on their heads, I imagine, when they were, well, they hung out with him. I don't know when all that came about. They hung out with him, these apostles, and they were called disciples in the beginning. I'm not sure when that changed. I think an apostle is a witness. They stand as a witness for Jesus Christ. A disciple is a student, which I am, and maybe you guys are too. We're learning, and he's our teacher. So when you're reading all this stuff in this book, keep it in mind. You pray for revelation, which means you pray to understand what you're reading. Pray with intent, and the Spirit of the Lord can be upon you, meaning understanding, enlightenment. Okay, I have my glasses off, so I can't really see, but I figured I would go ahead and read Acts 4 and see what they're up to now. And it sounds to me like Peter and John have been arrested. Is that right? Oh, I went back to 3. Okay, there's 4, Peter and John. I knew that's what it was supposed to say. All right. So, I really should mark down the time. We're already at 30 minutes. My goodness. Oh my. I'm going to have to get busy here. I don't know if I have time enough to read that. Do, 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 do. Hey, hey. All right. Let's just see what I can do. All right. Acts chapter 4. Peter and John are arrested and brought before the council. Peter testifies that salvation comes because of Christ. The Sadducees strive to silence Peter and John. The saints glory in the testimony of Jesus. They have all things in common. I know that I had that read it to you. I want you to note one thing there. What did they say? The saints glory in the testimony of Jesus. Okay, I'm not sure if it's going to say so right here, but the members of the church in those days, Jesus's days, were called saints. This is the last days, the latter days of this earth as we know it. Jesus is going to usher in the millennium, and this earth is going to go through a change, and we are in the last days. And this Book of Mormon and this Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as part of it, that's it. I mean, that's part of it. That's the big deal of it. The truth is here. I'm telling you, people. You cannot totally judge the church by there's bad people out there. But what you need to do is you also judge the church by its fruits. You partake and you find out if it's sweet or not. There's all kinds of projects going on that you can help out on. There's just an organization of learning for all of our people, starting at their very young age. You know, first it's a nursery and then it goes on up. I don't know when they actually get into their own little classroom, but it's age appropriate all the way up until they're young women. And things change from junior Sunday school to, and they've changed all that now. Sunday school is with your family, and then we divide up into classes, meaning the adults and the young adults, and then each age group has their teenagers and stuff, and they're learning things to help them through life. And the Boy Scouts is part of it, and Girl Scouts. I don't know if they actually have Girl Scouts, but they have a young women's program. They have camp. They have ball tournaments. They have road shows, and they have dance festivals, and they have colleges, and it's just a wonderful, marvelous organization. And it is Jesus Christ Church for reals. And these are, like I said, the last days. So the name of the church is the Church of Jesus Christ. My voice wants to go crazy. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And we're all trying to emulate Jesus, trying to live our life like Jesus. So that kind of does, in comparison to a lot of people out there, make you a saint, right? And it's really lovely, let me just say that. It's really lovely to have this major big family. And the way the organization goes, you know, like I was telling you before about stakes, and within those stakes there are wards. And sometimes there's branches in locations where they don't have enough members to make up a ward. Out in the middle of nowhere type of stuff. But anyway, I don't even have a clue how many stakes there are, how many different we have different regions, and in those regions there's so many stakes, and in those stakes there's so many wards, and etc. And all this stuff is going on, massive, all over the world. The same programs are going on. It's wonderful, period. It's a marvelous time to live in. Just saying. Talking to myself too. I mean, I got my car now, so now I got to figure out, am I going to venture out and go to church? I have a hard time at church because I'm a different bird. Like I said, I believe the way I believe, and it's not always the same as everyone else believes, okay? And sometimes people are just not too... You have to be... I'm not sure of my right words. You have to not be letting all your dirty laundry out. It's a family affair, okay? So you don't be out there telling all your bad stuff. And I've heard people do that. And I was just so shocked at one woman, the things she would say when she was... Because we have a chance once a month to get up and bear our testimony, what we believe, but you're supposed to really kind of keep it short and sweet and share with the time with everybody that wants to get up and bear their testimony. But you don't do what she did. And you just don't put your bad laundry out there. I don't know how to say it any better. It's not what you might think. It just wasn't appropriate in the family setting. So anyway, it's just wonderful to be with people of a like mind. You don't have to worry. Your kids can... It's kind of like in the old days where your kids could run around and play and you felt safe. They were safe within that community. And there's just wonderful things to help them grow up and learn. And they definitely get to talk in front of the members of the church. As they're growing up, they're given that opportunity to have talks too. I mean, it's amazing. You start them out young and they're in primary and they're learning to sing in front of people and they're given their little talks, little teeny talks, but they're preparing. And as they get older, they give longer talks. Like I said, it's a family affair. Every Sunday when we go to sacrament meeting, there's somebody chosen to speak. Sometimes it's a family, okay? So it might be a couple of the kids, and then the mom and the dad. They might do a musical number together if they have that talent and stuff. But it's just real neat growing up in the church, and it does help you to be able to face people. This is another little story, so I'm not going to read because I'm going to have to get off here. My time will be up in a minute. When I moved to Utah, my family moved to Utah when I entered high school, or I think, no, it was the last year of junior high, I guess. I was going in the 9th grade. But I had a speech class. So I don't think that would have been in the 9th grade. I think it was in high school. I didn't know what speech was, okay? But I signed up for this class because it was an English elective. And as far as I knew, I was shy and bashful and stuff like that. But I had to get up in front of the class and introduce myself because I was new. Anyway, it was all a blur. I just remember the speech teacher telling me I could stop now. She said that I was a filibuster. And that was that I once got started, I couldn't stop. So I can only imagine. And I also did a skit in that class. It was like a monologue. And it was the, I'm sorry about my throat. I didn't do the homework. I was supposed to do something. And I had to get up and perform. And I told the three pigs. I told the story of the three pigs. I did a different voice for each pig. I mean, it was funny. I got a lot of compliments on that, but it was a spur of the moment thing. I did not plan it. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I believe I probably got an A. But it was a trip. Anyway, I told you I have to get off here. My time is out, and I didn't read. I was going to try to hurry on through it, but Acts chapter 4 probably deserves more than me to hurry on through. So I have started to perspire. I've got to turn on the air. So, home alone. That's me. I'm home alone. Very strange indeed. But I'll just do a lot of talking. I'll make up for the time that I was gone. I do want to get through Acts. Maybe we'll learn something together. I was trying to tell you that those people that were referred to as Mormons, that's a nickname. It's a nickname because of the Book of Mormon. But if you actually get into the Book of Mormon and find out who he is, why it is named after him, then it should be really interesting, okay? But it's really, the name of the church is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And that should make more sense to you from what I just read to you. The saints. That's what members of the church are called. Okay? I don't think we really even know that. I mean, it was an eye-opener for me. I'm going, oh, wow, really? So the members of the church were called saints. Yes, I know. Even my friend has these saints. Saint Germain or Saint this and that and the other thing. I don't know. I don't know saints. I know Jesus. And these saints, were they named by people to be a saint? Because I know I heard it. Saint, I think I heard Saint Matthew, Saint Mark, Saint, so all of the apostles, they might be calling saints too. But remember that I am a disciple of Jesus Christ, which means I am a student. And anybody that's reading the scriptures, that's what you're doing. Because you're trying to learn, right? You're trying to be like Jesus. Do 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 do. I gotta go. So tell me the stories of Jesus. I long to hear things I would ask him to tell me if he were here. Losing my voice. You guys know that song, right? Scenes by the wayside, tales of the sea, stories of Jesus, tell them to me. So that is what I be trying to do. I gotta sign off. It's Mary Lou saying, peace, people. Spread a little love. Spread a little peace. Try not to fight. It's not so easy to do. Try to understand each other And yes, if you're looking for Jesus Christ and seeking, I was going to use the word admonish. I would just tell you to investigate. All you got to do, I mean, if you want to go to church, then look up nearest LDS church. I mean, you can put LDS, Latter-day Saint. Or you can go also to just learn stuff, go to lds.org. Latter-day Saints. That's who we be. And I'm proud. I'm proud of this church. I'm proud to be, even in my status, I'm proud to be a member of this church. Remember that the church is made up of people. People are human beings and they're stupid sometimes. I mean, that's what we're doing there, is to learn and to partake. And I'm telling you, if you go to church, you will partake of the Spirit. You'll feel it. I do. I started to tell you, the sacrament meeting is go there to partake of the sacrament. So there's a prayer over the sacrament, the bread, and then the water, and it's passed out to all the people. And then there's the speakers, and then there's also singing. So like what? I'm not sure what happens first. It's pretty bad. Seems like there would be, an invocation. So there'd be a prayer first, and then a song. And then there would be another song, which is the sacrament song, which has meaning towards the sacrament, and it prepares you for that, because it's supposed to be sacred, and it's supposed to be a meditative type thing during the passing of the sacrament. However, it's family and there's children and there's some noise, but you are supposed to try to be quiet and try not to be doing other things. You pay attention to the song as you're singing the song, or if you're not singing, you pay attention to the other ones, what it means. Just saying, if you were perfect in that way. So you would have the sacrament, and then after that is when the talks happen, and then there'll be, sometimes there's a song, a lot of times there's a song in between the talks, and sometimes if it's a long meeting, we stand up so we're not sitting the whole time, just to get off your butt, because it's not good to sit too much. I got to quit doing that. Anyway, I do have to go. I'll be back. I hope you guys can follow what I'm trying to tell you. It's a wonderful organization, and if you are looking, you should try to find them. Just to partake. Take the lessons. I don't even know that they're lessons anymore. They used to give discussions, but I think one of the missionaries was telling me recently that they just meet with you and have whatever it is you want to talk about or learn. I'm not sure how that works anymore. But like I said, they used to have discussions. There were 6 lessons. There are things. It's a wonderful, wonderful deal. So, I'd be telling you the stories of Jesus. I'd be telling you about the organization of his church in the old days as well as now. And the second coming is real. And the Book of Mormon was the very beginning of the signs of the times. And in my studying, it seemed to me, the church did not say this. This is something I gleaned from my studies. 200 is a big deal. 200 years. And so if you went, we've already passed 200 years from the time of the first vision, but there was more time before. What was it? The church was organized with 6 men in 1830. They built their first temple and dedicated it in 1836, the Kirtland Temple. That's a big deal. Really big deal. That's how many years from the time the church was organized? 6 years? They've got missionaries across the seas. They sent missionaries overseas. They were about spreading that Book of Mormon. The church has 17 million plus members today, all over the world. There's temples dotting the world. They're everywhere. And they build them, they're trying to build them anyway, to last 1,000 years, to last through the millennium. Temple ordinances for the dead. They say that the millennium is going to be full of temple work, records, and all kinds of stuff for linking families together. I can't fathom it. It's too much for my little brain. But anyway, I do need to go. See you guys